This is Tony Bates reporting from Los Angeles. We are here in the city of Hollywood, standing in front of the Museum of Death. Next door, a big convention is going on at the Academy space, Weedcon LA 2020. There's much to do, there's much to learn. Follow me inside. We're going to teach you about weed in Los Angeles. No, we're not. We're going to teach you about marijuana. Come on. We're at the Green Shock table, and we're going to learn about this company and who they are and what they're here. First of all, let's look at their product, which smells and appears to be amazing. What's the difference between outdoor growing and indoor growing?
Outdoor is going to have the power of the sun, which can't be mimicked, which is going to make the terpenes and certain THC and CBD compounds a little bit stronger. There's more medicinal side to the outdoor, I feel like. It's going to be 100% organic, which indoor is going to still be artificial, even with you do organic inputs into it.
So why is the indoor considered artificial and or non-organic versus the outdoor?
It's just because the outdoor is in the ground. It's in the soil, and it gets the Mother Earth's sun, and it gets tapped into the roots and everything in the ground. So it's a huge difference to be an indoor and outdoor, like, just with that alone.
There is talk by some in weed circles that the creation of cannabis or the growth of cannabis by major corporations and the government means a less pure product. Is that your perspective?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because everyone seems to be moving forward when really you can go backwards and make it real simple and let the plant grow by itself naturally, and it's going to be a better product in the end than forcing it to do anything.
I'm going to have to go with I like this. Listen, while I like healing, I also like to feel good while it's happening. I am here with Carly. She is with Nuggle, the new standard in cannabis technology. What is cannabis technology, Carly?
Thank you. So Nuggle, we're a cannabis tech company, and what that means is we do advertising and consulting in the space, but we do a lot of things with tech. So we have a website and we have an app, and it's kind of like Weed Maps, but we only list compliant shops and dispensaries and brands. And we're also going to be launching a social media component to it. So a lot of cannabis brands are struggling right now in the social media space because of all of these algorithms and shadow bans, and you get blocked from communicating with your consumers. You get just completely deleted off Instagram. And you know, from a marketing perspective, if you have literally built up a community of 30,000 people and then that gets deleted, that's a big hit to have to go and rebuild all of that. So we hate that people are being manipulated and that they can't just reach the people who care about their products. So we're trying to solve that for the community. We're trying to create a space to really bring the whole community together, whether you are creating events or you're a consumer, a brand, a retail. Heck, you don't even have to have a cannabis business. You could be an insurance company and just enjoy cannabis, and you can create a profile for your brand or your service online. So,
well, let me ask you this. What do you think, or from your position, or maybe even Nuggle's position, what's the most important thing that could happen in weed legislation today to move us forward to the place you'd like us to be?
The Brownie Mary law that just passed is really, really important because it is going to give the ability to be able to gift cannabis to people in a compassionate way without having the taxes put on it. So before that, if anybody wanted to give cannabis, they couldn't. It had to be sold. It's the full taxes. I think it's like 30. Yeah, I think it's like a 30%. I think it's like a 30% tax total of the whole thing. So whatever you would go into the shop and the taxes you would pay there, you're not selling the product, but you're still having to pay those taxes. So people like Sweet Leaf up north, who they for 20 years have been doing compassionate care. Joe, he gives back to all these people who are terminally ill and have cancer, and now they're expected to pay like thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars essentially if they wanted to help people. Crazy.
Today we are here with Emerald Sky. They are apparently an edible company, but we're going to find out from Ashlyn from Emerald Sky what they do. Hi, Ashlyn. Thanks for being with us today, and tell us about Emerald Sky.
Hi, Tony. Thanks so much for having me. We at Emerald Sky are so excited to be here. We offer a wide variety of edibles. We have infused licorice, gummies, and peanut butter cups, as well as hard fruit drops. So, you know, our founder has been making candy for about 25 years, and he's making candy for Whole Foods before he started to infuse them. So that's what makes our product a lot different than other products. He really has the quality of the candy making down, which honestly is what I think is the most important part, because not only do you get a good high, but they taste delicious. So, I mean, honestly, I love edibles because they're inconspicuous. You can take them anywhere, and you ease into your high rather than when you smoke, just getting it all at once. So we offer a lot of different products for everyone. We have products that are vegan, gluten-free, low dose, as well as high dose. So we have a little bit of something for everybody here.
So can you tell us about the difference between a smoking high and an edible high?
Well, honestly, it depends on what you're smoking and the edibles, and also the person, because everyone's affected differently by cannabis. But personally, I find that edibles, they come on a little bit slower, so you don't actually notice you're getting high sometimes. Like, I'll kind of forget I ate one, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I feel really nice. What? Oh, yeah, I ate that edible earlier. So rather than when you smoke, all of a sudden you're just like, you're blazed.
Beautiful. Well, this is Ashlyn. She is with Emerald Sky. And again, the difference in Emerald Sky's product is the candy comes first. Professional candy maker decided to infuse their product with THC, whereas most people have THC and just find some candy to put it in. Amy, my name is Tony Bates, and I am here from KPFK in Los Angeles. And we are here at Weedcon 2020 in Hollywood. And with me is Amy
Appleby,
Appleby, and she is
the president of Cannatech Solutions.
And what is Cannatech Solutions? What do you do?
We do consulting on THC and CBD companies all the way through the supply chain, from genetics to dispensaries.
Now, when you say the consulting, does that mean like you kind of smoke the weed and test it and then let people know how it works?
That is part of it, yeah. It's a blessing, I tell you.
It's good work if you can get it. So what does that work entail for your company? What does that look like?
So we help states expand their operations, expand their product lines, help them stabilize, streamline, optimize, whatever.
We don't know what that means. Break that down for us in lay terms. You're speaking in marijuana, and we only speak English. Scott, what is the company that you're with?
Our name of the company is called Ricket, from Ricket Brewing. We make the world's first cannabis champagne.
What is your website?
The website is ricketbrewing.com, RICKETT brewing.com.
And you can see their props here, folks. This is actual cannabis burning. If I liked, mouthpiece, just saying.
In a gold cup, too.
In a gold cup, so they've won something or other. So, Scott, who decided, or whose idea was it to infuse champagne?
I've been working on an alternative to alcohol for a long time. We started with beer, went from beer, worked with the wine world, started to take it to another level, and said champagne's the way to break this to the cannabis industry, give them something celebratory, a high-end product. We take all the alcohol out, we take all the complex carbohydrates out, all the sugars out. This whole bottle is only 25 calories. And it's infused with the most state-of-the-art nanotechnology cannabis. No hangover, no dehydration, really nice, quick onset, smooth high, a whole new alternative for adults for beverage drinking.
You'll have to break down nanotechnology cannabis for us. What does that mean for my audience?
What we're able to do is take water and oil don't mix. Cannabis, CBD, all of that is an oil-based product. So in order to put it in solution in a drink format, that you have to somewhat fool Mother Nature. So we use nanotechnology to break the cannabis molecules into nanoparticles, so small that you can't see them without a microscope. Then we use a surfactant to engulf that particle, and what the surfactant does is it has a head that likes water and a tail that likes oil. So it's that bond that helps the friction between the water and the oil. And since the particles are so small, we're able to keep it in solution. It absorbs in your tongue, in your mouth, your esophagus, and gives a much quicker onset and a much higher, 3 to 5 times the bioavailability of a nano solution THC product.
We're here with
Jay from J Farms, brother.
Jay from J Farms. And so, Jay, tell us about what you do and how it's related to weed, cannabis, THC.
We have our chef-curated cannabis products and concentrates, and we also have our infused food today that we're serving our mini burgers.
And so how does that work for the average consumer? What do they do with your product?
Well, you can actually get it with or without cannabis, so that way you can have your choice.
So without would mean CBD? I'm lost. So you can get it, everything has THC. but you can get it with or without cannabis. Okay.
The sauce here?
Yes.
That's got the THC. This one does not. This one does not.
Okay, so where do we find your products, and what is your primary product?
Our primary product is our concentrates, packaged flour, pre-rolls, and our food that matches all of our concentrates.
And so you have pre-rolls as well. Is your focus food, or is it edibles, or is it rolls?
Curated cannabis, which is a chef-curated, meaning that we take the terpene profile percentages from the back end and we use the inside knowledge of the bud to produce the products that we make.
What's your favorite thing about working with THC?
That it actually helps you and changes people's lives.
I'm here with Carolina, and she is with Dreamt. Dreamt is a company who has focused THC/marijuana on sleep time. Carolina is the chief scientist. Please tell us your name and tell us why the company is focused in this direction.
Sure. My name is Carolina Vasquez Mitchell. I'm originally from Guadalajara, and I'm the chief scientist at Dreamt. And we use cannabis as an ingredient to make products to help people fall asleep.
So why did you focus in this way? What industry does this come from? What does this idea come from to focus just on nighttime?
I have insomnia. Ever since I started my PhD in chemistry, I started to have insomnia. I moved to LA 10 years ago, and it's with insomnia it started, is LA. And I used cannabis to make me fall asleep. However, I was using edibles that took too long to make me fall asleep. And I think a lot of people have that problem. They take edibles, it takes too long, an hour or so, they get anxious, and then they are not able to fall asleep because they get too anxious. So I started using vapes, but that is too short lasting. THC and CBD only last about 2 to 3 hours. And I needed to smoke several times during the night, and that wasn't working either. So I make a product where I combine different molecules that help you fall asleep, like melatonin, which is found in your brain and is essential for initiating sleep cycles, valerian root, that help you to relax and is a treatment for anxiety, and terpenes that are found in cannabis and other terpenes that have clinical trials and a lot of research that prove that these terpenes can help people fall asleep fast and for longer.
I am here with Sarah. She is here at Weedcon not as a vendor, rather as an enjoyer. And we're going to talk to her about why she's here. Hi, Sarah. Tell us your name and what brought you to Weedcon today.
My name is Sarah, and I came to Weedcon because I love weed. I'm really here because I'm a huge weed nerd, and I like to smoke it, I like to smell it, I like to look at it, and I could do all of that here, so I'm in heaven.
So, of course, in California here, weed is legal. What is your favorite way to ingest THC?
I smoke a lot of flower personally. I roll joints at home. I have a bong that I pack bowls and smoke out of. I also use a lot of topical products, but smoking has to be my favorite.
You use topical products? What does that mean? Explain that to us.
I use different balms, pain creams and stuff.
Medicinally, you mean? And so are these THC related or CBD related?
I use a combination of both. I found that CBD for me doesn't work on its own, so I use a combination of a THC-CBD ratio.
And are you mixing yourself, or are you buying products that have a combination?
I buy different products. There's a lot of brands that I personally like to use. Papa & Barkley is one of them. They make a lot of really good topical balms and body oils, also pain patches that I like to use from them too.
And what's your personal journey to this love of marijuana? How did you arrive here? When did you start consuming marijuana? And why are you so deeply attached?
I've been consuming marijuana for a very long time, since a young age, I'd say, on my own. And as I've gotten older and found out that there's a lot of more research behind it, it's not just getting high, it's also feeling good. Now I'm back in the industry, and I'm here as a consumer, I'm here as an educator, and I love weed.
And what would you most like people to know about THC or marijuana?
I would really like people to know that it's okay to feel good, and it's not always about getting high. Some people are really nervous that smoking weed or using weed products are, oh, you're just going to get high, you're out there to get a fix. No, some people just really want to feel good.
I'm going to endorse that. And I mean, I'm going to talk even from the perspective of our spirituality, where we are taught the better you feel, the better results you will achieve in your life. I'm going to have to give that a thumbs up. Sarah, thank you for your time today. It's wonderful to meet you.
It's nice to meet you,
And we'll bump into you as we walk around the space. Have a great day. This is Tony Bates reporting live from Weedcon, Los Angeles. There's a lot of music going on around us, so I'm going to speak up a little bit here. We are here with the one and only Richard Eastman, the father of medical marijuana, one of the fathers of medical marijuana. He is not only smoking while we are talking, the good. He's going to roll one while we are here with him for his Free the Weed. And here's the thing, I don't know how to roll a joint, so I'm excited to see this. Would you start, Richard, and show us what it takes to roll a joint? And also, as you roll, can you tell us about your presidential bid?
Well, you know, I'm 66 years young. I grew up in San Francisco in 1953 to when John F. Kennedy became president. And my grandmother worked for him in 1959 when he was running for president in San Francisco. So I sort of had a sheltered life on Nob Hill. I grew up to be like a guy that was a movie star, rock star, president, congressman, hippie, the Black Panthers, everybody they hated. We loved them to death. And Haight-Ashbury, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. I did the leather for hair in '69 at the Aquarius Theater down the street. 10 years later, I saved the Hollywood sign. They killed Harvey Milk. Dennis Perone, you know, my friend in San Francisco used to give out 1,000 joints like I'm doing today, Free the Weed and end corporate greed. And whatever we did, Dennis Perone and Prop 215 and Brownie Mary and Hazel Rogers and Mario and all the people with AIDS and cancer, 25 years ago, the city of LA honored me recently for living with AIDS for 25 years. And AIDS did help shape and change the marijuana movement in America because, see, I was a gay man. I still am a gay man. So was Harvey Milk and Dennis Perone. And yet we fought for a lot of straight people. And illness doesn't discriminate. And black and brown kids went to jail far too long for a little plant that freed us and made me feel better, even before I had the AIDS. So when Dennis said open a cannabis buyers club in LA, I thought, oh, I'm going to go to jail. I might only have a couple years to live. And Dennis said, you'll get all the weed you ever want for free. And I said, Dennis, you know I always got the weed free. And he was like, do it. And
Hang on 1 second. Let me jump in. Before we get to the weed rolling, we're going to roll the joint. But I just want to ask you a couple of quick questions before we get to the joint. What do you think of the current state of weed legislation?
I think recreation is a trap house. That's the title of a documentary I'm making about how legalization is basically the same old boss. We're talking about pharmaceuticals, alcohol, and tobacco. The same old boss, slavery, addiction to chemicals and things that should be grown outdoors, not in warehouses. And poor people should have access to marijuana for free. So it should be rescheduled as a medicine, and then the FDA and Medicare and Medi-Cal will provide it to people on Social Security and welfare, and they won't have to take their rent money and their food money, and grandma has a headache and she has to go give $5 for this legalization crap when the government should be paying for medicine instead of opioids and antidepressants that are killing our youth and our seniors. So this is a never-ending story, and now I'm going to show you. You take the rolling paper.
Thank you. Guys, this is Richard Eastman. He is one of the fathers of medical marijuana. He is going to roll a joint for us here live.
Humboldt, blown up in Humboldt. We spread it like that. The rumor is I can roll about a joint a minute, and I've been doing this for 57 years. And you go like that with your thumbs, you go like that, and then you go like that, and you go just like in the movies. Clint Eastwood.
That's a wrap or a roll for Weedcon 2020 here in Hollywood, here in Los Angeles. I am Tony Bates reporting. We have seen the vendors. We have talked to the customers. We have seen the indica. We have seen the sativa. Many delivery systems from vapes to pipes to dabs, all that you can do. There is much to learn here. But remember, folks, weed is big business. $18 billion in 2019, projected to be up to $350 billion in 20 years. It's a place to consider investing. It's a place to keep your eye on in the news. And it's a good place to feel really good. I'm going to go back inside of these doors over here and sample some of the product, allegedly. It's Weedcon 2020. Thank you for listening. I want to say a shout out and a thank you to Maggie Lepeque for arranging for our press passes, and certainly to my co-conspirator, Jose Benavidez, on camera. That's a wrap for Weedcon 2020.